Oh,
Well, hello, everybody. I just want to welcome you to our webinar today. We have, so I am Jasmine, Jasmine Hughes. I'm the Director of Marketing and Development at Aviator Accelerators. Aviator Accelerators is a nonprofit. Our mission is to uplift and empower women entrepreneurs and female founders. And we do that in a variety of different ways. We offer education as well as network expansion and a supportive and caring community. And we shine a light on the amazing work women are doing in our region. And today we're going to be talking about how to build your business through using local talent in technology. So local tech talent, holy moly, we have a fabulous guest today to share and to enlighten us.
yeah,
Michael Stovall is a talent solutions manager at Per Scholas.
mhm,
I did it right.
you got it right. Yes, yes,
And he's going to walk us through the key strategies for building business using local tech talent.
yes.
He is an expert in the tech management and cybersecurity area, and he's really passionate about supporting entrepreneurs. And we're so lucky and so glad to have him here today. So, Michael, I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jasmine, so much, and the entire AVHR team for having me this afternoon. Um, Like I said, my name is Michael Stovall. I'm the Talent Solutions Manager at Per Scholas. We are a nonprofit specializing in tech talent. So think your software engineers, cybersecurity, your desktop support specialists. Sorry, but it's Friday. And my role is to help them find job placement post graduation. So thank you all for your time today. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Okay. Y'all able to see my screen
Yes,
here?
we can.
Okay. Does this work?
Perfection.
Okay, perfect. Great. So, like I said, we are per Scholars, some of the training tracks that we offer throughout the year. I will have a link for you all to check out later. So if you're interested in learning more about organization, we do have that as well. And we've been around for over 25 years. So super excited that we're still going forward. We've trained over 25,000 people in technology careers. And so, the work that we do is incredible to building that talent. So one thing to think about, and there's a lot, when you're running a business. I used to own my own startup company back after college. So I know gets a little crazy out there. A lot of things to juggle. And so when you're looking for talent and bringing talent on, you want to make sure that you are understanding like your business goals. So determining the roles that are essential to support your needs. So if it's software development, cybersecurity, etc. And you also want to break it down a little bit. Is this a short-term need or is this going to be a long-term need? And taking notes on that. Having I would say a good journal notebook with you that you can write some of these things down, brainstorms with your partners, etc., to understand those needs. And with our market, there are tons of networking events and opportunities to learn more about technology and the components, especially in the AI space. AI can take a lot of some stress away as a business owner and give you some more time back to do some other things. And so leveraging the market insights and trends. Robert Half, if you're familiar with their organization, they produce every year essentially like a market recap, some trends that they find in the technology industry. And so those things can be really helpful for when deciding where to move your business in the technology space. When you're developing, I have a HR background, so I did a lot of time in this with developing roadmaps to building, your talent pipelines, etc. Making sure you see the future growth of your business. Sometimes, you look and you're like, okay, we're just thinking about this year. Think long term and understanding the changing landscapes. Like who would have thought we'd be talking about open AI and ChatGPT, etc. In this time 5 years ago, right? And so how that has changed and it's going to continue to change with the new technology that's coming out. And so just making sure that when you're developing your roadmap and where you want to go and hire, that it also goes back again to your business goals. Where do you see yourself in your organization? The growth of that organization, how many people you anticipate bringing on, or you're going to keep it very small, etc. Right. And so just keep that in mind as you are, you're as a business owner. Okay. So our organization is one of the many organizations out there for finding free and low cost tech talent. Um, One of the things I always like to shout out is our libraries, our local libraries. If you have your library card, you can get access to free LinkedIn learning courses. And so that is a great start. Sometimes it's like just knowing the basics, learning the fundamentals of technology yourself. Because if you're bringing on someone to your team, right, you need to be able to have those questions, especially in the interviews when you're interviewing someone. Like, are they the right fit for one for your company and your culture? Do you think they'll be the one to handle these, tech requests, etc. Um, and a side note down here, I talked about cybersecurity best practices, knowing how your organization can be impacted by that. That's very important. Working in cyber myself, I know how that could be. And so making sure that you have a plan somewhere in your business plan called a disaster recovery plan to know if you were to be attacked by hackers, etc. Like how that would be impactful for your business and also for your users. And so you just want to make sure that you're using those resources, staying up to date on trends. And then also thinking about some free courses. So our organization, I have tons of talent looking for to roles in technology, a lot of entry level roles that our alumni are looking for. So that's one side, right? But then also Google has Coursera, which is an online platform for understanding all types of different things you want to learn. But in specific for today is tech talent. So understanding the basic tech, cyber essentials, software essentials, and your basic tech support can also work too. And you can do that at your own free time. And the libraries always have stuff going on. So grant writing, etc., are all some really cool things that are going on in our libraries. Thinking not traditional talent. I know a lot of companies will go straight to the universities because that's what they're used to working for. But don't forget the boot camps out there, like ourselves. Um, you know, our learners when they graduate in Pacific, they're looking for that startup company or that small business, etc., to bring their new talents that they've learned from our programs, etc., from other boot camps that are out there. Okay. Um, see here. So internship programs, be thinking about that for your organization. Bringing on an intern, maybe for it's a short-term project, and working with, organizations like myself or universities, et cetera. You bringing someone on just to understand, give them a shot, right? It's like to give people the opportunities, right? Is always incredible. And then there's always opportunities within these universities, trade schools, etc., usually for volunteer. So think about going to do mock interviews, maybe a few hours out of your day, but it's a way to understand that organization, get actually firsthand one-on-one connections with the people who are going through the programs. And you can kind of see the feel, you can talk about the curriculum, ask questions um, before you even make a hire. So it's like you're doing your research. So when you're doing that research, you're understanding, okay, maybe I want to work with Per Scholas. Oh, I know their curriculum. I know they have professional development as well. That's important for my business because you don't have a lot of time oftentimes as a business owner to um to train or to ramp up. And so understanding how in depth these colleges and trade schools, etc., operate and what the curriculum looks like is important. And don't feel free to, to reach out, like go on their websites and do, like the contact me, and email them and say, like, what does your curriculum look like? Like, if that's the way you want to go to bring in talent. Can you share a little bit more about some of the support that comes along with them once they graduate? So for our organization, we support our learners up to 2 years post graduation, because we know, they will get into an entry level role, but oftentimes they're getting ready to move into that next role, that senior role, etc. And so we know the importance of continuing support, right? So those are the kind of questions that you want to, kind of understand that landscape from other organizations. Jasmine, feel free to interrupt me if you have.
I was gonna say we just actually had let's see here. Let me find if I can. Um, where is my little life over here? Um, well, I'm not gonna hop on the recording real quick, but from the voice from behind the scenes,
Yeah.
we actually just had an intern through our like through one of the high schools in the local area,
Oh,
up in like Kings Island area.
okay.
And it was really, really interesting it was our first time that we'd ever had an intern for Aviatra. And it was really fun to work with a young, aspiring young woman who was interested in developing her skills. And it was her first experience really in the workplace. And so it was really, really fun to work with her. We gave her you know, interns, especially high school interns, I found that she needed a lot of guidance, right? Of course, she's a high school student, but with that guidance, we were able to give her autonomy over a project, and
Mhm.
she really did a great job. And
Yeah.
so we were able to be collaborative as well as let her have some autonomy and kind of get her feet underneath her, right? And let her
Right.
really try some stuff out and be independently working. And
Mhm.
so she ended up opening up a Pinterest page for Aviatra. So we
Oh,
create she created the profile and the account and put out our very first content out there. And so it was really fun. And then I had her write up like a how-to, a white paper, as you would call it, right? And had her write up what she did and how um, she wrote up like a best practices for when she was going to leave us so that when, someone else had to take it over later, they could refer to that as a tool. And she just did a phenomenal job. And it was a really great experience. We're looking forward to utilizing interns again. We've actually just got another set of interns from UC,
oh,
and
wonderful.
they're doing some research for us as well about looking at different regions to expand into, and so it's really just exciting stuff
Yeah. And I
and
love what
really
you say about
useful.
how. Yeah, exactly. And like you said, you have a project. So, making sure, as a business owner, you're bringing on, exactly what they want, like you want them to do. And then also being able to have some type of metrics or something to understand, like how to base their performance off of as well. So at the end of that time of that internship, you can go back and review some of the key wins, maybe some weaknesses, etc. But making sure you document that prior is really good.
Yeah. Oh, and with this the new project that we have, I feel like it's a little bit tech comfortable as they're like, they're doing research and they're plotting out mapping areas that have a lot of entrepreneurs, but then a lot of entrepreneurial support, and then trying to find the places that are not necessarily saturated. Like, as for example, here in the Greater Cincinnati area, it's beautifully saturated with an entrepreneurial ecosystem of
Yeah.
support. And so we were wondering what kinds of areas don't have that kind of support, and maybe we could then be
Right.
one of the first or key roles, key players in that space to provide that support. And so it was just really fun to see how, we didn't tell them how to do the work, just that they got
Yeah.
to do it. And they've made maps and put layering of maps on maps that show
Oh,
what
cool.
areas are good. And so like I don't know that I would have considered it technology at
Yeah.
first, but it absolutely is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're using, at bare minimum, they're using a computer to do this work.
Tech is everywhere. And that's why I say, earlier with, getting a library card, or if you have one, utilize some of those resources to understand some of those basics. Because when you're bringing an intern, sometimes it's like you have to have some of that lingo there, etc., and seeing some of their work. So I love that. Now there are tons of platforms out there. So we talked a little bit about universities, internships, etc., but there are platforms like Upwork, where you can contract someone to bring on to a project. There's a ton of people out there for that. So you have to do your research. You have to understand what's going on there. And sometimes it requires, to do some extra steps in understanding like the questions, your projects that you want to have. And when you're vetting them to come onto your project, right? We gotta make sure that first you're gonna get the project done at the cost that you wanted to pay, et cetera. And so being able to have, as much knowledge as you can about what you want them to do is so important. And ask them like to show your work. Walk me through a project that you've completed recently. Talk to me about some of the reviews you've received and feedback, et cetera, from some of the work you've done. You can most of the time see some of that, but it's always good to have that person explain it to you, and walk them through a scenario, right? Like, let's say, um, for this in the tech side, our website goes down. Like, how would you bring it back online? What would that look like, etc.? So give them some scenarios that could possibly impact your business. You are the one that knows your business the best, right? And so being able to come out with some scenarios. So be imaginative, right? Think in the future. Like, what if we brought on 100 new people? How quickly would you be able to ramp up new laptops if we were going to deploy them out to our team members, right, et cetera? Talk to me about working under pressure and deadlines. And so just making sure you keep track of that. I say document what worked well, right, and what could have been improved on. So post that project, if you didn't ask those kind of questions, did it work out still or did it not work? Where were
Right.
some
Well, and
points?
I'm
Yeah.
really curious, what kinds of project, not tech talent projects might you suggest for a platform like Upwork?
Yeah, so I think always a nice one to start is your website. That's
Okay, yeah.
that's the easier one to dive in. And I say that because there are a lot of platforms out there that you can build websites on, but knowing your business and how the user will interact with you, and that it's always nice to maybe have like someone from Upwork to come and review that, like a user experience specialist, etc., to help
Mhm.
make it more official, not official, more efficient for you and your organizations and the users that are on that platform. Because sometimes you might not see it, like it, but someone from the outside is a different perspective. So that would be like
Absolutely.
one, project to start with. Also
Yeah,
make
we've utilized that idea with our website as well, right? Like we look at
yeah,
the website every year and try to have somebody else look at it, use it, make
yeah,
sure that it's as user friendly as we envision it. And that we think, 'cause, again, we created this so we know exactly where to go for what. And
yeah,
so making sure that the path that we provided is intuitive, and so
exactly.
letting, whether that's hiring someone to sort of evaluate that um, intuitive, user-friendly space, or even, technology as far as tech talent, like SEO, right? Like,
Yeah,
building
yeah.
that Google profile and providing them, giving them some images, giving them some reviews that you've had from your website and having those being uploaded. Sometimes we just don't have the bandwidth to do all of those things. So, hiring that out can be really helpful.
And it's important too. And even with your mobile devices, how it looks on the website is completely different how people interacted with the mobile. And so having someone from Upwork or from a program like ours coming with that knowledge to ask those questions to you as a business owner and diving deeper into that can be so important.
And
Make or
doing
break
these
a
things
business.
Yeah, and doing these things on a project basis.
Yes.
I feel like that feels a bit more affordable than hiring on a permanent staff member.
Absolutely. And, we're gonna talk about that too. You can always think about too with with the projects, doing trial runs, but also too partnering with another business. If you know another business owner that is in a similar situation as you trying to bring on talent, right? Tech talent, splitting the cost of that. right? It's like we have a project kind of similar. We're both looking for get our websites built together in that way, and being thoughtful and saying like, hey, maybe we can share some resources here.
Mhm.
Or, if you work with someone that's really great, right? Let's say I was a tech person and you had a really great experience, Jasmine, working with me,
Absolutely.
recommend it to another person in your business network, right? It's like,
Mm.
so they don't have to spend so much time going through Upwork and looking for companies, etc. So it can really be helpful to share that amongst the community of business owners and saying like, hey, Michael was a good person for my tech support. Bring
Absolutely.
him back, you know?
Building that network is so important. And I love the idea of that, perhaps that collaboration or that sort of trade experience,
Mm,
especially for our early stage entrepreneurs where, money is part of the
right.
equation. And
Always.
so being able to equally benefit from a partnership, perhaps without exchanging funds,
Mhm.
is a creative solution and still benefits everybody.
Yes. And making sure, um, if you're collaborating with the teams, having those meetings, having those conversations so everyone's on the same page. Because tech is so vast, right?
Mm.
Um, and oftentimes too, like what's the priority? Because there's so many things. Like I want to do the website, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. What are we prioritizing when we
Mhm.
bring on? So that's why I say, these short-term projects, trial runs to see. Let's start very small. Let's just
Yeah.
make sure the website is up and running, right? Let's just start there. Then let's move into some more features, some more interactive. Then let's go into, oh, we want to do a store. Let's talk about the store launch, things like that. So just keep that in mind. Oftentimes there's so many ideas going through our mind.
Mhm.
So it's just like, hold on, let's take a breath. What do we really need? What do our users really want? And let's bring on some talent to help support us in that, whether it's through Per Scholas, like our organization, or through Upwork, etc. Um, just being mindful of that piece and
Well,
being
and
flexible.
you had mentioned how it's so important to begin with the business goal in mind,
Yeah.
and even to like more sharply hone that message. I think that it's like, what is the end result goal that you're looking for, right? Are you looking to be more efficient? Are you looking to free up time to expand your bandwidth? Are you looking to reach a larger audience? Are you looking to, like what is the goal? And you may not actually know
Mhm.
how to get to the goal, right? And so utilizing these resources to help guide where it is you need what you need to do to reach the goal.
Right. Because you don't want to bring someone on, you pay them, and you're like, I didn't get a website built. It's not exactly what I wanted. They didn't follow instructions. Like, and then you're like sitting there left still at step one, right? And so that's why I say it's very important to understand that, align the goals to what you want to do, and document it. Do some check-ins, on Upwork and interns. Like, make sure you're checking in on them. Can you give me a progress report every Friday? Let me know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I want to see what's going on, because whether wait to the last day, let's start looking at the progress now, right?
Yeah, it isn't one of those things that you can just hand off
Mhm.
and wait for it to come back. And
Yeah.
I think that's with working with any sort of team, right? It's really helpful. Although, we think about it in our head as a transaction, right? I don't have to check in on Amazon. When I order my item, I go in, I click it, and I'm done. And then it just arrives at my door without any other effort. But when
Yeah.
you're working with a team and they're building something for you or accomplishing a project or a task, you're right, absolutely, it's so important to have those check-ins, set those expectations, and have sort of a conversation throughout the whole process.
Yeah. And then once you've met the person, let's say, you have identified they've done the work that you want, and then now let's say you got some more funding, right? It's like, okay, maybe this is a person I could foresee bringing on in the future. Maybe it's a contract role to hire and see what that looks like, right? And so that's what I love. some of these platforms and things. It's like you have so many options out there. So um, take your time in deciding what works best for you and your business. Okay. So that was it. The the end of my presentation. I know, Jasmine, you might have some questions for me or but feel free to contact me if you want to dive a little deeper into some of these concepts and points. I'm happy.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about Per Scholas, because
Yeah.
Per Scholas, and just to like the kinds of projects or the kinds of people that we could, that would be a recommendation, right? Like, so
Yeah.
just as a reminder, like who are the people? What are the tasks? What are the jobs? Who,
Yes.
when I have a need, what can I go to for?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So, with our programs, I have access to our entire alumni network, right? We've been around for over 30 plus years. And so, I'm in the greater Cincinnati area. We've been around for 11 years. And so we have entry level talent. So people who, you might bring on for one or two projects, right? And then we have people who have been working in tech since we started, right? And who have now are in the senior level of development, let's say for a software engineer, right? That may be a more senior project for them to optimize your websites, etc. Now, we have a large portion of our courses is in our help desk technician piece. And so when you're thinking about a project for them, someone to come on would be, making sure your laptops and everything are configured correctly, right? Making sure that your own systems are, up and running, updated, etc. If you're bringing on someone like a new hire, having them reimagine, reconfigure a laptop that you're going to send out to them for as a new hire, right? That's part of your business. Um, building websites. So some of our software engineers, that is their main thing is designing websites for people, etc. And so working with one of our grads in that space. And then also for our cyber people to do an audit. Right. So if you're taking, credit card informations, identifiable information for other people, making sure that, okay, we're doing good there. We're not
Right,
leaking
making sure the
data
safety
out there.
measures are in place.
Mhm.
And thinking about those sort of and or we want to be proactive, not reactive. And
Mhm.
so, I don't know if they, if you guys are able to like teach the essentials of cybersecurity, things to avoid, right? Like there's spam, and there's I think at a business I used to work with, every year we did a webinar, right? A testing and a learning experience of just reminders of all of the different phishing emails and the different
Yes.
things and how to identify them. And,
Yes.
and if you don't work for a large corporation that has provided that to you because you're the business owner, now
Yep.
can you provide that to your staff? And so would
Absolutely.
alumni of your program be able to like provide that sort of instruction if they were to even, we pay them to teach you that, or you and your small team?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Talking about the disaster recovery plan as part of your
Mm.
business plan, that section in there, right? Our learners can most definitely do that and doing an audit too of your infrastructure, taking a look at that, even for our help desk support technicians, making sure your firewalls, etc. When you're about to open
Mhm.
an office, right? Let's say you're about to move in, you need computers set up, you need your TV set up, you need all this going on. Our help desk specialist could help in a situation case like that as well.
That's amazing.
Um,
In all of my career, I've always needed to have the direct line to IT support,
yeah,
and no matter where I work, I'm on a first name basis with our IT department
absolutely,
because it's
absolutely.
not me.
And they can also help you with picking vendors to go with.
Oh,
So,
so say more about them.
um, you have to be careful with can't not every business is a good business, right? And so making sure that you have someone that can help guide you, even if they don't may not know how to work with that business directly, can help guide you with some of the questions to ask, help you with identifying, what they do a little bit more clearly, right? It's like, okay, so I'm going to bring this company in. They said they're going to do firewall, but can you explain firewalls better? And kind of give
Mhm.
you that kind of support, and hold your hand through that experience because there's a lot of companies out there that want your dollars, and sometimes you just got to make sure, like, okay, am I getting what I said I'm going to get with this, and making sure. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, and so I know that you guys have a really wide range of alumni and clearly all of these different options. Do you, how does it work if, as you know, an entrepreneur, I think there is a desire to do it all yourself.
Mhm.
And so do you guys have even just one-off classes and certificates where as a business owner, I could be like, oh, I'd really like to be able to do this thing and I don't know how. Like in those scenarios, what kind of resources? I mean, you did mention Google's Coursera.
Yes,
And
exactly.
so what are those
That's where
resources for that specifically?
that's where I would, if someone were to come to me with that example, I would position them towards like a Coursera or a LinkedIn Learning or the public library. Our organization has 12 to 15 week courses, so that's a lot of time to commit, and there are from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday for the duration. So that can be a little tough for a business owner to go to school like
Would
that.
be.
It could be. But if your business works at night, hey, come on.
Bring
Uh,
it.
um, so for like a smaller like sessions and things like that. And then oftentimes Eventbrite, meetup.com, or yeah, Meetup. If you look for some of the tech events there, oftentimes you will find like sessions like AI for Humans is one, who talks about, optimizing your business with AI and the new technologies there. So getting plugged into the community, even if you're not bringing on, let's say, a tech person right away, right? Just getting yourself familiarized with the ecosystem is always important.
Yeah, and it's a great idea, right? Getting involved, you don't know what you don't know. And so carving out a little bit of networking time
Just a little bit.
to engage and meet the people that are locally in your area doing the things, passionate about them, whether it's their career or their hobby. Um, and in theory, you're meeting other early stage entrepreneurs. And so that can really, the power, the strength of your network absolutely is going to be determinant of the success of your business. So it's really who you know. So very often, in like the most beautiful way, is that you're building relationships with people, and so places to go, technology related spaces. You mentioned like some meetups and the human AI,
Yeah. Since
um,
AI for
AI for humans.
humans, yes.
And
Yeah.
of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention Together Digital. Amy does an amazing job of bringing them together in the technology digital space. And so there's a lot of resources in that space as well.
Tons of resources. And even if you don't have a tech background, still go. It's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah,
It's
go meet them, learn something.
Mhm.
Um, and now you've made a connection that who knows at some point in your um,
Right.
in the lifetime of growing your business, might not be ready now, but you've got a Rolodex full of resources to turn to when you are ready.
And sometimes people are just interested if they love your business enough, right? And find your mission and value to be important to them and their values, right? Oftentimes people are just like, hey, yeah, just a coffee. I'll help do some of these things. You know what I mean? Like because
Yeah.
they know that you're a small business, right? And so sometimes you know, it could be as simple as that. You just
Mhm.
don't know who you're gonna meet. Like I didn't know. Look it up.
I know.
I'm that MBA through Startup Cincy. And so I think that's important when you're building community as a business owner.
Absolutely. And speaking of Startup Cincy, is if you're a business owner or a entrepreneur or an entrepreneur of any kind, um, Startup Cincy is definitely a wonderful place to connect with. And they're going to have things throughout the whole year, leading all the way up to the big Startup Cincy week, which is just an incredible amount of resources all in one place. Awesome. Well, Michael, any last tips and advice, or have we managed to cover it all?
I would just say, take your time. There's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of resources out there. So just take your time and set with you and your business partner or your team and just take a moment of pause to what is going on. Like, what are we trying to accomplish? Going back to those business goals. Because there is a lot going on out there. So you just want to make sure that you take a moment with you and your team, or with yourself, and like, where do we want to go? And even if you just start small, just start going by the networking events, then, volunteering for mock interviews, and then you building your way up to Upwork, etc. as you learning. Take a quick Coursera course. I think you get like 30 days free or something like that. Um,
Oh,
Visit your library, get your library card so you can have access to LinkedIn Learning and do that
the
at your own.
libraries. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
The resources there, the
Yeah.
information, the classes, the assistance,
Yeah.
every
For free.
library, the free, and every library sort of specializes in their own thing. The Kenton Library here in Covington is really focused heavily on supporting business owners. And so they always have things like that LinkedIn course. And I
Hmm.
absolutely have been to one of those where they talk about how to improve your profile and how to manage all those settings and what are the most efficient ways to do so, and how to be seen and what kinds of benefits you have in different areas. And it was really valuable, like for some of these things, they're all new things. And, LinkedIn's been around for a while now, but for heaven's sakes, it wasn't there when I was 12, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. And I think that, that would be my last piece of advice for everyone.
Absolutely. Just soak it all up. There's a lot of resources out there. Thank you so much, Michael.
Oh, you are
Um,
welcome. Thank you for having me. I do appreciate you and your entire team. Tell Jill I said hello as
I
well.
absolutely will. Yeah, so we will absolutely provide those slides and we'll send this out and get this to everybody and who wasn't able to make it with us today. And oh, and then things coming up on our radar. Of course, if technology is something that's important to you, and as much as technology, it really impacts how we connect with our customers. And so in May, we have an upcoming social media masterclass. And so if you're thinking, gosh, I need help in social media, and you'd like to learn how to do it to your best ability, then we're here for you. And then, of course, that is under the technology list as well. So that's one of the things that people often reach out to and utilize local support for. And we've got a lot of resources for those as well. And so we are just so glad that we had some time with you today. And we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
And